On behalf of the Professional Baseball Strength and Conditioning Coaches Society, I'd like to welcome you to the PBSCCS Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Messina.
So you just worked the Arizona Fall League this past year. First, congrats. It's a really awesome place to be, really awesome place to cut your teeth. A lot of high-level performers, both players and staff there. But I want to get into a conversation about it, the schedule, working with all the guys, working with the coaches, kind of what it looked like for you. So let's kick it off. Kind of what was your daily schedule and where you were, what team you were with, and then we can kind of go from there if you're cool with that.
Yeah. The Arizona Fall League was amazing experience. Was super pumped to get that opportunity to head out there, and I was with Surprise, the Saguaros out there, and Surprise, that the spring training home of the Royals, Kansas City, and the Texas Rangers. So was working out of that complex, and the AFL, it's a short season, only 30 games at the end of this end of the regular minor league season. There's about 6-week season, and each team, there's 6 teams in the league, and each team is comprised of 5 different major league organizations. So with Surprise this year, we had Baltimore, we had Houston, Cleveland, Texas, and Kansas City. So, I was able to work with players from all different orgs and coaches, and learn from them, and, bounce ideas. And I think it was a great experience as a coach, growing and with confidence being out there for sure. And then just a really cool thing to be a part of. As a baseball guy, I'm aware of, the players out there, and, the history of the league and the players that have passed through there. And, these guys are soon to be big leaguers all over the field. I think there was 15 guys in the top 100 out there this fall, and, plenty more on their way. So yeah, just a great opportunity. And schedule wise was pretty similar to affiliate life. We would play mostly every day. So we would alternate day games and night games, probably more day games than an affiliate. But, as a strength coach, you work your schedule around your games just as you would at the affiliate. So if we had, a day game, we'd be training in there early, or have an open weight room after. Night games, you'd be able to get your work in before, but pretty similar, just, a short sprint of a season with a bunch of new guys, and, great memories for sure.
Yeah, I worked the Fall League 2016. And first and foremost, being in Arizona is amazing. It's a really, really cool place to be during that time of year. But being able to interact both with players and staff from those different organizations is really a blessing for that league. Because as much as the players are potential big leaguers, there's a ton of staff members that are also potential big leaguers. And then there's coordinators coming in town, there's front office, all of that. So you really get to network and connect with a lot of people. But with that also comes making sure to balance everything for all of those guys. So how are you able to kind of, manage 5 different teams worth of players, right? Are you connecting with their coordinators, or are you just kind of free roaming, doing whatever you got to do? Like, what was your approach to making sure that each player maximized their time in the AFL?
Yeah, I think that'd probably be the biggest challenge of the AFL, but also like opportunity. So you're connecting with other strength coaches and coordinators, and getting the plan straight for their guys, and trying your best to keep them on track. So you at the beginning of the fall, before the fall league starts, reaching out and trying to get a hold of their coaches and see what their goals are for them, and how it's going to look. Nowadays it's pretty similar. A lot of orgs do the similar things with their online training platforms. Whether it's Bridge or Team Builder, they have their plans and they know what they need. So for me though, it was a great opportunity to connect with the other coaches, like you said, and meet these players and fill in for them for the time that we were out there. Had a lot of fun doing that. And then I guess another challenge would be just as a strength coach, you kind of want to have your hand in the programming aspect and things like that. But like you said, there's 5 orgs and 4 of them are not your own. So just knowing, respecting that, that their plans come from their orgs and, it's not your own program, but it doesn't mean you can't coach them up and, you can't take them through the best way you can, that we will, but just not overstepping, I would say, when it comes to that would be key there in the fall league for sure.
Yeah, when I was there, we had a couple guys with one org that they were basically on their off-season program. And so they had a lot of running, and their lifting volume was a little bit more. And they would look around and they're like, man, these other guys aren't doing too much. Like, can we do what they're doing? And I'm like, part of me feels for them because it's like October getting into November, but part of me is like, this is what your org wants. And I kind of have to make sure that we do this the way they want. So yeah, I can definitely agree with you there that that's one of the bigger challenges is just you want to do what's best for the guy, but also you want to make sure that you abide by what the organization wants for the guy. And I think the workaround there is really just staying connected with their staff and their coordinators throughout the whole time. I had reports that I sent out each week on all the guys from each org, and I send it to their coordinator. Sometimes they get back to me, sometimes they don't, but at least for my peace of mind, like I could let them know what they were doing. And then if they needed any adjustments on my end, I could make those adjustments. And I think it worked out relatively well. But again, it's the other thing, and I don't know what the schedule is now. When I was there, we played basically middle of October, late October until Thanksgiving. And I got home to Buffalo on the Monday before that Thanksgiving. So we were there a long time. And a lot of the guys that were at the fall league also went to instructs at the end of the year. So they had not had a break from spring training to November. And at one point in time, the World Series had ended and our guys were like, we're literally the only ones still playing baseball. And you expect us to like do this work. And I'm like, I don't know what to say here because I kind of feel for you, right? Like it's a long ass season and this is still going on. But also like this is what your org wants and you're here at the AFL and like they view you as a really high priority. Like we need to maximize our time here. I don't know if you ran into that. If you did, how did you navigate that? And if not, like I'm very happy you didn't have to deal with that.
That sounds pretty much spot on. I think our season was about the same timeline, 6 weeks or so, right up until Thanksgiving. And yeah, I know guys would be in instructs gearing up for it prior. So really no break for them since probably February. But I think you could do both like effectively if you keep the communication up with their respective orgs. So, reaching out at the end of the weeks was big, saying like, hey, we saw this in the weight room, so-and-so kind of felt this way with this, with these sets, this volume. But yeah, I think we were able to do pretty well with that, just keeping communications up. And like you said, sometimes you don't hear back, but you always, want what's best for the guy. So sometimes I did, I'll be honest, sometimes I did suggest a few things, but they stayed healthy and completed their work. So I'm proud of that. We had a great season, amazing group of guys, made it all the way to the championship game there, which, yeah, for sure, I'll never forget them. So hopefully, see them at the top one day.
Did you guys end up winning or losing?
It was a close one, lost to Salt River. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was a 1-run game. Got cold there at the end of November. So it was a little bit of a pitcher's duel, low scoring night game in the desert. But yeah, great experience. Everybody was glad that they were a part of that. I know some guys, like you said, long season, and then they get sent out there from their orgs, and some guys might have been on the fence about it, but I think at the end of it, everybody was really happy, that they did get that experience and probably be a big part of their development, moving forward. So.
Yeah, we made it to the championship as well and also lost. We actually had a starter lined up for the championship, and then his organization was like, "No, we're good. He's got his innings in for the year, shut him down." And so we had like a full bullpen game for the championship, and it just blew up in our face. And that's okay. It is what it is. But I think for you, the cool thing will be in a few years. Maybe you'll be in the big leagues, maybe you won't. I mean, you don't know, but you'll see those guys growing up, and you'll see those guys making it to the league, and you'll see them kind of around. Like, you'll be in AA. I'm sure you'll be in AAA at some point if you get to the big leagues. You'll see those guys across the field, and I have seen a ton of those guys that I had, and every time they give me a wave, they come over to say hi during BP. Like, it's just a really cool experience. And you've talked about some of the challenges that you faced while there, but what was the most rewarding part for you?
Yeah, I'd say that's like the best part in baseball is, the people you meet and the connections. So I'm for sure grateful for that, and gonna, follow those guys all the way, through their careers, and hopefully run into them again in the future. But, rewarding for me, I think, number one, just being able to represent my org and having the Orioles, send me out there, really meant a lot. So being able to represent the org, like the players that are part of the league, that was really rewarding. And then, like I said, being a baseball guy, I'm aware of what the fall league is, and the talent and coaches that have passed through there. So that was something that was special for me. So yeah, I was grateful to be out there with that, and the connections again to, like, talking with other strength coaches that I might not have seen, in my league, um, in high A, from other orgs, and the coaching staff for the Surprise Saguaros was excellent, and I learned a lot from those guys too. And seeing what they do with their orgs, I'm sure is going to help me level up a little bit going forward into this next season. So.
Yeah, one of the cool things that I really appreciated as well was I got a taste of what an Arizona spring training would be like. I was always in Florida, having been with both Pittsburgh and Boston. And then I was out here and I was like, damn, this would be really nice. Like, all the stadiums are really nice. And my wife and I actually ended up moving out here, moved back to Boston when I got promoted. And then now we live back out in Arizona because we loved it so much. So I know I would imagine, obviously, you got to experience the AZ spring trainings with the Cubs, but it was a cool experience for me with that. And then were you able to do any hiking or any fun things that were not baseball related while you were here?
Yeah, for sure. I was also lucky this time around because the Orioles sent the manager for a surprise as well. So I was pretty tight with him. Roberto Marcato, he's the man. He's actually going to be the AA manager this year again. So we've spent a lot of time together, knew each other well going out there. So we did a few hikes together. We went out to Sedona on an off day. That was cool. Camelback, did the whole Arizona, checklist, things you got to do. But yeah, seeing all the stadiums was another unique, experience being out there. I think we did play in um, every single complex. Pretty impressive, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely opens your eyes to like how good complexes can be. And our manager here was my manager in AA as well. So I was really close with him, and it really helped me to kind of navigate the schedule. I knew how he operated, he knew how I operated, and we kind of just brought that same philosophy with us to the fall league. So it made it really seamless because obviously, as you know, the schedule dictates everything in the day. And then when you have guys from 5 different orgs and they all do things a little bit differently with their org, trying to round them up sometimes can be like, trying to round up stray cats. And so it was really helpful for me to already have that relationship with him. I'm sure you probably feel the same way on your end.
Yeah, same. He was the scheduling master, so he helped me a lot getting whatever I needed, timeline wise with that. And also the Royals, we were using their weight room, so that's another thing. If you go out to the fall league, to be aware of, navigating another organization's weight room, during their off season. So they had camps and things going on as well. So they were super accommodating. shout out to Jared Abel and Yannick Plante. They were awesome people. They made sure we had whatever we needed. So, working on the schedules was huge. Sometimes, you'd have to have open weight room after, if there was like a Royal strength camp going on where, weight room was kind of slammed, this and that, having good rapport with the manager was key to make sure I got what I needed. But, I was lucky that he was, I knew him going in, but I think, if it was another manager from another org, would have worked fine. Just having that communication from the start is really important,
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And then I was on the Texas side when I was there, and the staff there was amazing. A couple of them are still there. I would consider them, lifelong friends, and still keep in touch with them. So that's kind of the beauty of the fall league, right? Is you meet a bunch of just really good people who love baseball. They love being around the game, and they're all fairly high level people, operators, achievers, and being able to be a part of that really does feel special, and it really is a cool place to be. So I would imagine you feel the same, but I would say anybody that's listening that gets the opportunity to go, don't hesitate, take it if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's something I'll look back on for sure and be grateful I was a part of. And definitely a highlight of my career so far.
Let's kind of transition gears here. So what do you believe makes a strength and conditioning coach successful, maybe in general, and then more specifically in professional baseball?
Yeah. So it depends. I'd say it depends on your population, who you're working with. I mean, general, like strength coach, you want to improve performance. If you're working in the population that we do, professional baseball, at the end of the day, you're part of player development, and your job is to produce big leaguers that help the major league club win. So at the end of the day, if I'm not getting them better at their sport and having measurable, success there, then I don't think I'm doing my job. No matter how much their squat goes up, or they enjoy training in the weight room. I think in the performance side of things in elite sports, that's number one. Hopefully seeing some positive transfer on field in their sport. So I think that's success to me right now in this role. Hopefully seeing guys take strides and get promoted from high A to double A is always nice. And guys that I had down the road, seeing them debut is awesome. That's always the goal for everybody. So, and then another thing I would say for success as a strength coach, I think, is getting guys to enjoy training. I know not everybody does, but hopefully can light that fire. Make an environment that guys want to be a part of and push themselves, because I think that feeds into the first goal. The more they enjoy the training and want to show up and be consistent, that's going to help us, along the way, and to reach that goal of hopefully making it to the big leagues one day. So, getting them to enjoy training and trying to light that fire. As a strength coach, you remember when you first got into lifting and how fun that was. So hopefully you can kind of pass that along, and if not, hopefully they at least take something from it and learn some principles to help them in their career, that they can be their own best coaches one day, hopefully.
Yeah, I think probably the combination of finding a way to enjoy being there, and then also having it kind of relate to better performance on the field is kind of that sweet spot. And I think a lot of times when coaches say, oh, we need to get them to enjoy training, it's like the hard stuff, the heavy lifting. And there are a lot of guys, especially in the baseball setting, who really don't like to push that, like we talked about earlier. And sometimes they really, really do need that heavy strength work that we talked about. So you have to find a way to get them to, if not enjoy it, at least understand the value of doing that for the performance on the field. But sometimes training doesn't always have to be the heavy stuff, right? There have been plenty of times that I've made connections with players, and as much as we talked about it earlier, we added a bunch of water bags and 3D strap exercises, and all of a sudden they were in the weight room every single day. And for me, that was a big win because I got a guy who doesn't ever want to come into the weight room, and kind of showed him like, yes, the weight room is a lot of heavy lifting, but there are all these other things that we can do as well that can kind of help you on the field. And all of a sudden the guy's coming in every day. And then when you have that buy-in from him, that's where you can kind of sprinkle in some of those, like, hey, let's add like one set of trap bar deadlift. Let's just see how you feel. Or let's add in one set of rear foot elevated split squat. Let's go 2 of these. And then you start chipping away at that. So sometimes getting them to enjoy it is actually showing them things that maybe we don't like, but they will like, and they'll do consistently, and then kind of introducing them to some other things. So it's a tricky game, and it's not always just, I need you to lift heavy. And even though you don't like lifting heavy, I need you to figure out a way to enjoy it and be motivated to do it. Sometimes you almost have to like reverse engineer to get guys just to come in more consistently. And I think you might see that in AA this year. That was kind of the league where when I got to AA, I had a couple guys that had some big league time. And then I had a bunch of guys that were super young prospect types, and they needed different things at their points in their career. And I needed to find a way to still get them to want to come and spend time with me and be in the weight room and train. And that was where my toolbox kind of opened up. Instead of like, I don't care who you are, you have to lift heavy, you have to do my program, you have to do this, where that's what I was doing in rookie ball. When I got to AA, it was like, okay, I need to work with you instead of work above you. And I think you'll probably see some of that this year. Maybe you won't, maybe you'll be lucky, but I'd imagine you'll have some pushback, and you'll have to figure out how to navigate those situations.
Yeah, for sure. I think in this role, you got to play the long game and be willing to, meet guys in the middle and kind of do whatever it takes to create that momentum in the weight room. So sometimes that's, throwing them a bone on an exercise they like, or giving them a little say whenever appropriate, with some of the exercises. But I think over time, that's going to get better buy-in and better adherence and, attendance in the weight room. And that's really the key to success there, the consistency over the long haul. So, it's something for sure. It's important.
Yeah, one of the hard lessons I learned was that you may not win a guy over today, but you could definitely lose him today. And so for me, there were times where I was hard-headed. I tried to just push what I wanted, and sometimes you have to push, right? But there were times where I pushed too hard, and guys were like, all right, I'm out on this guy. And then it took me weeks, if not months, to get that guy back on my side and to understand that I really always did have his best interest. I just wasn't seeing it from a different perspective. So I would agree with you if you can play the long game. And the other thing is, we have no choice but to play the long game, right? We're with them every day for 7, 8, 9 months, depending on how long the season is, for hours and hours and hours. Sometimes they're doing it just to test you and to see what they can get away with. And sometimes you got to hold your ground. But sometimes there are legitimate moments where, like you said, you can throw them a bone, build some positive momentum, and then you can say, hey, remember last week I did this for you? Mm-hmm. Like, I really need you to do this today. Like, I know you don't want to, I really need you to. And sometimes it's, 3 bones their way, 1 yours. It's not always a 1-to-1 give and take, but that's kind of just the game we have to play sometimes. And that may not always go over well with other people and other places that may be listening, but that's just kind of the reality of our life in professional baseball.
Yeah, it's one of the fun challenges, dealing with pro athletes and being with them every day. But it's part of the job, and you learn as you go along. Year one, looking back to my first affiliate season, some of the things I did, for sure, do differently now. Going forward, and for the better. Just like the players, get better year to year in their development. I think strength coach is the same thing. So looking back, evaluating how you did. And, things that you can change for the better with your system for sure is important over the years.
Oh yeah. I've had times where I've had to apologize to athletes I've had in the past. Like, listen, I know we did this in the moment. This is what I knew. This is what I thought was best. I know better now. I'm sorry. And I'm going to continue to get better for you, this is what we're doing now. And it's maybe completely opposite from the previous philosophy we had, but is what it is. You know what I mean? You only know what you know in the moment. And that kind of goes along into maybe my next question is just, where are you going for continuing ed so that you can stay on top of things and continuing getting better? Are there books you'd recommend, seminars you've attended, podcasts you listen to? Like, where do you go to stay on top of things?
Yeah, continuing ed is really important. Trying to get more knowledge and that's applicable. It's pretty exhausting, though, honestly, with how much is out there. I think there's almost too much at times where you kind of just get kind of lost in the sauce. But it looks a little different for me now. Like early on, I was trying to buy every book and read every article and attend every seminar. As a younger strength coach, and then now I kind of maybe look elsewhere to maybe connecting with another strength coach, talking shop, learning from them, things like that. But for me, I think learning from successful coaches is really important. So like finding out who's in the field and in similar positions that you would hope to be at one day. What are they into? Success leaves clues. So finding good coaches, learning from them. For me, that'd be Zach Dakin, TCU, and then being in the baseball field. I'm into some of the stuff that Randy Sullivan's putting out in Florida Baseball Ranch. That's kind of my new off-season niche that I'm kind of looking into with the water bag stuff, like we talked about. 108 Performance is another one. Just good coaches, they're everywhere. For me, early on, though, I think Altus was a big one that helped me growing as a young strength coach, especially with like running mechanics and things like that, because I didn't have a track and field background. So getting that experience through them was nice. Joe Ken's book was big, Strength Coach Playbook. That was something I know you probably were the same, had to read that one. And then I'm a big fan of Tony Holler. I love his stuff, everything he puts out with the Feed the Cat stuff. And his clinic, Track Football Consortium, is something I think strength coaches benefit from for sure. And then also, like, it doesn't always have to be strength and conditioning related. Like that's kind of where I'm at now, where you get a little burnt out with it. I try to rotate different books and different different type of material. So one that I'm a big fan of is Jim Rohn. He's like a motivational speaker. I like listening to his audiobooks, and it kind of put me in the right mindset, to be successful and be a professional. So I think that kind of translates into every field, no matter if you're a strength coach or whatever it is you do. So just having balance, I think, is important, and try to learn in any way you can, because there's opportunities and things all around you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And the one good thing that I really like that you said is just learning from successful coaches that have kind of been there and done that. And for me, that's where most of my growth has come, is just when I was with Boston, we had basically 3 guys above me that had a ton of experience and had been in different places and then had come to baseball and then had come from different orgs in baseball, and just being able to connect with them on a daily basis. I'm forever grateful for them, because they kind of molded how I look at professional baseball and how I, kind of operate in the game. And they taught me things that other people never would be able to. And, there are high level coaches, like you said, everywhere. And some of them have the experience that we have, and some of them don't. And it's fun to bounce ideas off of people who have never been in baseball and just kind of hear how they would do things, and then just throw in what if there's a rain delay, or what if the bus breaks down, or what if the plane is late and the equipment doesn't get there? How would you change? But there's also a ton of value in just connecting with others. And that's why personally, I love this podcast. I've met so many good coaches and good people over the years, just being able to talk shop with them both on camera and off, and grab dinner with them sometimes, and just, even go like meet them at their complexes sometimes out here in Arizona. I've been to a few of them, and I've just been able to go hang out and see how they operate. That to me is incredibly valuable for operating within the professional baseball space. So agree with you 100% there. Before we get into the lightning round, do you have any advice for other coaches in the field, either young coaches looking to get into professional baseball or older coaches that are listening that just want to stay on top of things?
Yeah, if you're a young coach trying to get into the field, I'd say for starters, try to find a good mentor. So find somebody that's going to be able to, help you break in, because it's competitive, like everything in life. So find somewhere that you can learn from, and then that they'll be able to give you your resume an edge when it goes into the stack that's endless. So finding a good mentor, for me that was TCU, that was Zach Dakant. Worked out that for me. There's tons of great coaches like we talked about. Find somebody. And then number two, I think you learn from these great coaches, and then you that's at least how I was, that I thought everything that Zach would do, that's how you got to do it. So but then when you get from college setting into professional baseball, it looks a little bit different, and we don't have that fall semester and things like that. Develop your own style is where I'm getting at. So I think find a coach and a mentor, and then take from them, but then also have your own style and be confident in what your programming looks like, because you can't always just run to what so and so did. You have to be the coach, and you're the one that's in charge at that point. And then lastly, I'd say, like, be patient. I think it's social media, and everybody's posting this and that, and these careers. I think you just be patient. Take care of your people, do a good job, and the results will come, and you'll make these career strides that you want. So yeah, that would be my advice to a younger strength coach looking to get in.
All really solid. And to be completely honest with you, I fell into that trap. After I left Zach at TCU, I wanted everything to be done the way we did it at TCU. And then I got into pro ball, and I was like, what is going on here? We're going to have to make some adjustments. But again, I think that's kind of the process of being a young coach. You get an experience, you really enjoy it, you're really excited about it, and then everything has to fall in line with that, and nothing else works. And then you go somewhere else, and you're like, I guess it works. Even now, right? Like I'm out of the game now, and there are things that I dismissed over the years because I knew they wouldn't apply in our setting. And as I mentioned, I'm in more of an off-season setting now, and things that I've dismissed in the past, I'm like, oh, actually, they make sense now. These are completely different. So again, it's all within the context. And I think to your previous point about just connecting with coaches that have been successful, either within your sport or not, like I would agree with you. Success leaves clues. And if you can learn from others that have done it and been successful and find ways to do it and kind of mold your own style out of a bunch of different people's styles, that is what makes you a really good coach in the long run.
100%.
All right, we've been at it for a while. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but if you have time, I have 4 questions in a lightning round, and then I promise I'll get you out of here. Cool?
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first one, and your answers can be as long or as short as you want. So first one, who is your biggest influence in the field of strength and conditioning?
Yeah, we mentioned him a bunch, but Zach Dakant, that was, early on for sure, my biggest influence, getting me to, where I am today. And then there's been so many great coaches too that I've come in contact with. There's so many great people in this field. I think we get in this job because we want to help others. So, there's great people everywhere. Ryan Clausen was another one that was a big influence for me when I first got into pro ball. Was fortunate to be around him with the Cubs, and he was a guy that had been up to AAA at that time, and he went on to the big leagues. But somebody that really showed me the ropes, in pro ball, was a really positive influence. And then currently, my coordinator with the Orioles is a great help to me. Will Ali, he's really challenges me to grow as a professional, and holds me accountable. And he puts a ton of time and effort into coaching the coaches. So thankful to be with him, and all the coaches that have helped me along the way, for sure.
If you had one piece of equipment to train with, what would it be?
I'd probably say a barbell squat rack. Like we talked about earlier, I think it starts there. There's so many things you could do with it. It's simple and it's been around forever because it works. So I'd say a barbell, and then maybe like an outside the box answer. I would say a sled. I think is another piece of equipment you could do a lot with athletically and kind of blend the weight room into the field.
What is your biggest accomplishment professionally and or personally?
I think for me, just taking a chance and doing what I love, finding a career out of it. I think being in pro ball now 5 years and some of the experiences like fall league was awesome. I think that's just an accomplishment to me. Honestly, being here today talking to you is special because I used to listen to this podcast back when I was a PE teacher and try to learn from the coaches, that were where I wanted to be in pro ball. So it's kind of a full circle moment, and I appreciate you having me on here. You're somebody that I really look up to as well, being a big league strength coach and a former TCU intern as well. So it's for sure happy to be on here and appreciate it.
Appreciate the love and support. Last one. Any career other than strength and conditioning, what would you choose?
Probably say a firefighter. That was something that I was into for a while, and actually have a brother in Florida that is a firefighter, and he tells me some pretty cool stories. And I think there's a lot of similarities of the team aspect and helping others again. So yeah, I'd probably say that.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate getting to know you. If the listeners want to get in touch with you, get to know more from you, where is the best place? Should we go to social media or is there a better spot?
Yeah, if anybody wants to connect, I'd be happy to do so. My social media would be C Frosch with _. And then my email, they can reach me at that, would be chrisfrosch1@gmail or cfrosch@orioles.com. So
Awesome. Chris, I appreciate your time. If we don't talk again, best of luck this season. But I'm sure we'll be catching up again soon. So thank you again for your time, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, everybody, that's going to conclude part 2 of this 2-part interview with Chris. I hope you were able to enjoy both parts of the interview. Specifically in part 1, again, we talked about some strength and skill development, his best pro ball story, and the value of completing an internship that's really, really good in quality. And in this one, we talked more Arizona Fall League, finding success, continuing education, advice for others. So hopefully you were able to take a ton. I took a ton. It was nice to get to know him. And then 3 things that I took specifically in this part of the interview with Chris: get athletes to enjoy training by creating a positive environment for them, giving players autonomy and working to find middle ground with them on certain compromises can help you with creating buy-in, and learning from your mentors is critical, but ultimately you have to develop your own style of coaching. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll talk to you again on the next one.